Hey everyone, it's our 30th episode of Parent Chats on nslife.tv. On this episode, we welcome Damian Stoyloff, member of Legislative Assembly for Bedford South. Damian is a father, grandfather, and a very active advocate for his community. He loves to help people. Today, we're going to discuss his experience as a parent and grandparent, as well as tips on where people who need assistance in Nova Scotia can find it. Welcome, Damian, and thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank you, Kenny. It's a real pleasure to be here, and I appreciate you having me.
Please share with us about your family and lessons you have learned and or good memories as a parent or grandparent.
Lessons for me, I guess, start from my case when my parents, immigrated, into North America, didn't speak a lot of English, and my upbringing there was pretty simple in that my parents always stressed doing things important. And I've transferred that into my kids and try to keep it simple in that, be happy. Don't let what others think of you or others say to you get you down. Don't let anybody get you down for that matter. After that, being kind. Work hard for everything. Nothing is for free, even though some people think it should be. Every day you get up, you got to earn it, and you got to earn it again tomorrow morning. So for me, I transferred those simple principles that I think are the essence everywhere in the planet, not only in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I don't care in where you live in 192 countries. Just try to keep things of the essence. And that's what I've done. And as a parent with all that, you really have to learn to be calm because it took me a while to get to that point to be calm because with 4 kids, count them, 4.
It's a lot.
It wasn't easy. And when you run into the rink, the basketball court, the swimming pool, and everywhere you go, it can be tough on anybody. And the ability to keep calm, don't let anything get to you, I think is important, especially, we have grandkids now, and my wife is one that would have them over every single weekend, and they are over a lot of weekends. And just being able to be calm, take things as they come. Don't let the hoopla, the kids running around all over again after you've already gone through it once. Don't let it get to you, and really look at what's important in life. That's what I believe I've given my kids, and the grandkids are a little too young, but I'm kind of trying to pass along the skills to them to just be nice. And don't get stressed out about things. And it's something that we talked about earlier here tonight. Laugh at yourself and laugh at some of the stuff that happens in this world as much as you can, because if you don't, you'll end up not so good.
Yeah. Wow, thank you, Damian. What a good, thoughtful answer. One of the things that you mentioned was about being happy and not allowing people to control your happiness, even though it's a very busy time. You mentioned going to basketball games and all kinds of events with your children. For those people there now that feel stressed, a lot of them are in the sandwich generation where they have their parents to look for and also their kids to look after. They're doing those sporting events, money may be tight. All of these pressures, work pressures that they have, one question, is it worth it? You're seeing it from the back end.
It's worth it, and sometimes when you go through it, you don't think so, because you're conflicted with all the other things that you talked about, work and everything else, and you really have to be good, and that takes time to put everything in perspective to like what's really important. It also helps, I find, and this might be oversimplifying it, but sometimes you think you're alone and you're the only one to go through it. But when you're at the hockey rink and you're leaning up on the boards with a cup of coffee in a freezing rink at 6:30 on a Saturday morning, and you've got a lot of other parents that are there, having conversations and listening to other people, you kind of say to yourself, you know, I'm not the only one going through these long days, these weekends, and, you know, with work and the pressure that is, and then pressure with kids. And listening to other parents tell you what you're feeling, you kind of sit back and you go, you know what? You know, the way I always used to frame it at 6:30 in the morning on a weekend was misery loves company. And sometimes you laugh at that and go, you know, we're not the only folks doing that. And we're actually lucky in looking at the silver lining of everything. We only have one kid playing hockey. A lot of the other parents had 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So everything I'm feeling is multiplied by 3 times. And sometimes that gets your mindset to kind of think a little bit more positively and look at it and say, you know what, this is actually fun, because it always can be worse. And that's not easy to get to. I don't sit here to tell people that's easy. That takes training of your mind. And it takes the ability to hear what other people are saying and to listen to it. You know, that's what helped me.
Let's talk about the adjustment of coming from just being a parent to a parent and a grandparent. And there's a lot of people out there now that are probably new grandparents, and it's probably a bit of an adjustment period for them. What advice would you have for them?
Well, the adjustment, I think, for a lot of people is that I've spoken to, and that includes me. The thinking always is that, well, let's have kids. And we know you've got to go through a lot of work with school and extracurricular activities and all that. And you're always thinking, well, this is a lot of work now. It's worth it. I need to do what I have to do. But at age 19 or 20, it ends. But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't end, because it ends up being a continuation for a lot of years. So for me, I believe, and a lot of people I've spoken to, I'm more calm and more happy now because I've learned better over the years what not to do and how to do it to be more calm.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen with your first child.
Yeah.
You kind of get through the first and the second. It's no different than a hockey game. You know, you might be a little raggedy in period 1, and then you get a little better, and then you figure it out by the end of the game. So I think it's a constant learning, and I think the only difference now with grandkids, well, number one, when they come over or we see them, you kind of know, well, we got them for 4 hours or 6 hours or a night, and then we don't have them, so then I can unwind. But moreover, I think it's just the learning that you've been through it, you've gone through it, and you don't take the little things that happen too seriously. Like, you know, an accident happens, something gets spilled all over the house, and the kids are tearing the house apart. Maybe that got you upset 25 years ago. Now it's like, okay, it's okay, I can deal with it. And that happens through time. It does for everybody. So I just mention to people, stick to it, keep laughing, it'll get easier.
Excellent. And that is an important message. If you find that you're going through a difficult time, or you need, you find it stressful, it will get easier. It will get better. And thank you for sharing that, Damien. As an MLA and a community advocate, you probably see a lot of need in the community and a lot of people that's looking for answers. And answers aren't always that easy to find. So I know you care about people and you really want to help them. Where are some places that people can go? And I understand you have a cool card you made up that you're able to help people. And help people find resources. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey in this area?
Sure. November for me was an eye-opener because we knocked on over 9,400 doors in Bedford South. Although I've been involved for years as a volunteer, and I've knocked on many doors in this entire province since being here and heard many things, the things you hear at the door in 2024, 25 are a little different, things you wouldn't have heard in Canada 10, even 5 years ago. And it really opened my eyes that a lot of people out there are struggling with the basics, things you'd never think of in this community. So for me, it was an eye-opener to listen. And I also sensed for the first time a little bit of anger in people. People were more angry than I've ever heard them, just angry at life, angry at the struggles they're having, because most people looked at life and said, you know what, if I do everything I'm supposed to do, go to school, graduate, pay my bills, you know, these bad things shouldn't happen to me. And now they're struggling to put food on the table. And that hits home. And for me, it was what I promised everybody was basically, I will listen and I will do my best for every issue that we need to tackle, and we'll tackle it together. But it was an awakening for me like I've never had, in that it doesn't matter what party you belong to, I don't care. I just want to make sure that when I go to bed every night, people are looked out after. You know, we have a lot of immigrants in this community that have a lot of issues moving here. They don't speak the language well, and they need help. We have a lot of families right here in Bedford West with schools that are overcrowded, moms that are fearful for their kids going into school with 2,500 kids, all of those issues. And it doesn't really hit you until they're in your office and they're in tears. And then you kind of look at it and think, you know, man, this is real. So for me, I made a commitment that I was going to work one-on-one with people. I also made a commitment with my staff that I've hired. And my message on day one was, we're not going to treat anybody, especially you folks that return most of the email, we're not going to treat them like a bureaucrat in government. We're going to, every email that gets responded back, and I did see some early on that sounded like a bureaucrat, and I made it clear that will not happen here. We're going to treat everybody with compassion, with kindness, even if we can't help them, and just listen to them and respond to them. So that's what's changed for me. It's really moved me in the other direction a lot of times, because until you see it, you don't think it's real. But it is real. And I take this seriously in that, you know, we get paid by the taxpayers. They put their faith in you, and you need to deliver for them. You know, if I'm still around, when I'm not in office, you know, that day will come. I want to know that when I'm walking through the neighborhood or at the grocery store or in a coffee shop, people look at me and say, you know what, he cared and he helped. Not, he didn't do anything.
You talk about change, and you're right, maybe more today than any time in recent history. We're dealing with a lot of change. We're dealing with world events. It's hard to process as an adult. Now, as a parent or a grandparent, you also need to help talk to your kids or your grandkids. As an experienced parent and grandparent, what advice do you have for somebody who's out there wondering, my child's upset, I know they're upset, I don't know necessarily what they're upset about, but you know it's the state of the world. How can you break it down to make it make sense to someone, to a child?
Well, I think number one, it's honesty, like at every level. Like you have to, I know I told my kids, you know what, the world isn't sometimes the real nice place that we think it is. That's just reality. And you know what, sometimes you're gonna wake up and have a good day, and other days you're gonna have not so good of a day because of pressures of whatever you're doing or whatever the case may be. And something I learned a few years ago, which is reality, the success today doesn't come to those that are the best looking or have the most money. It comes to people that know how to pivot and adapt quickly. So you really need to get pretty good at changing course quickly if you have to. And that's easier said than done.
It is.
It really is for a lot of people, but I find if you do it at a younger age and reinforce the attitude of having a thick skin, of not letting anything bother you, words shouldn't bother you, don't let them bother you, and be a little bit more resilient and show the love, and also teach them to surround themselves. And this is the thing I heard back in high school, and it didn't, like I didn't wake up to it until about 10, 15 years ago, is that you are who you surround yourself with. I know that's tough to tell a young person sometimes, but if you surround yourself with the people that are always happy and positive and they don't let anything get to them, you're going to become that. If you surround yourself with people that are negative and disillusioned no matter what happens, and they always find a reason for not having success, you're going to become that. So the fact is, in the world, people always have success. We went through COVID, and COVID was a not so fun time for a lot of people, school kids in particular, having to go to school and work school remotely and all that. It just wasn't a school experience. And I think that made them more resilient, I believe that. But the ability for them to kind of shrug that off and not to take it as seriously, I think works for kids as well, to really be resilient. But it starts with communication, to be able to tell them, it's okay, we're all in this together. It's not always a pretty world. It isn't always fun. Some days everybody's going to beat you up no matter what you do. And that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And you got to go to bed at night and say, you know what? It was a miserable day today, and tomorrow's going to be better. And that, if you keep repeating that and keep doing it over and over again, it does rub off on people. And it's one reason, you know, I associate, and you know the people I associate with.
Great people.
People that are positive, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not negative toward anybody.
No.
People can be however they want to be. That's their choice. I don't care. But I know one thing, I don't want to be around them because it isn't easy out there of what we're going through now. Since 2020, think of all the things that have happened to people. You get locked up in your house. You know, you got to wear a mask. You can't do this. You got to. That was tough. And now we're going through another tough phase in the world with the whole economic situation, with tariffs and the whole bit. And you can't control most of that as an individual. So the message to me to young people has always been 85% of things that happen, you have zero impact over. Zero. Think about that.
That's
nothing.
true.
There's nothing you can do about that. So you have a decision to make every day. I'm going to be happy or I'm going to be miserable. And you got to try your best to choose happy, as bad as it gets. And I think the continuum of repetitive ends up hitting the brain. And some people don't get it till they're 30, however they get it. Some people get it. I've met 3 students that helped us on the campaign, grade 11, right up the street here in C.P. Allen. Grade 11, the most positive, I don't care what happens if I can't control it. 3 young people I've ever met in my life who knocked on doors for me in this building. And I don't have to tell them anything, but they associate. I asked one of them, actually, I said, you're positive, you're happy. Why? Like, life's not easy. You're in an overcrowded school, everything else going on. You know what his response was? Because I only hang around with people that are positive. I stay away from negative people. Grade 11. So he got it early.
Yeah.
Some people aren't going to get that till they're 40. I didn't get that till I was 40.
Yeah.
It just takes time.
So
But it's a journey.
so important. And
Yeah.
one of those things you mentioned, school and COVID. I heard something the other day I found totally scary. When COVID started in 2020, the babies that were born are starting school this September.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, so that's how long it's been.
Very good
And
point.
it's interesting. You've given us a lot of inspiring messages and really positive things to think about, and things that are concrete and helpful. So for that, I thank you. A parting message for our audience.
A parting message. Now, that's a tough one. Every day you get up, nobody in this world owes you anything. They don't owe you your paycheck. They don't owe you your happiness. They don't owe you anything. Your happiness is up to you. Your positivity is up to you. And your your outlook on life and your outlook on the world is up to you. Don't look for others to make you happy. Don't look for anybody, whether it's your spouse, your friends, the government, whatever. It's all up to you, and that's a good thing. So make every day count and do the best that you can do to be the best that you can be. Simple as that.
What a great message. And thank you, Damien, for coming by and talking with us and sharing your knowledge and your experience. And we really appreciate it. It's always great to chat with you, but just to learn from you and to have you share with our audience is very special for me as well. So thank you for coming in.
It's been a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
A real pleasure, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, everyone, for watching, and please use the advice or resources mentioned today. If there are show topics that you would like us to discuss, please add them in the comments below. And as I always say, my hood is parenthood. Until next time.